Well, he's the man in form, and spare a thought for the 539,000 managers who benched Mason Greenwood for Manchester United's win at the weekend. That's roughly half of the managers who own him. Ouch. Now, he has started the last 3 Premier League games for Manchester United. So if you've got him in your team now, Sam, should you be starting him every single game week?
Yeah, I think it's a change of thinking, isn't it, from an FPL manager point of view? Because normally, when you're struggling with who you bench, the cheapest one is generally the one that you end up benching. But actually, with a player like Greenwood, with the form that he is in personally, as well as the form that Manchester United are in across the team, he is one to definitely play week in, week out, I think.
A lot of people had him at the start of the season just because of his price, and it wasn't because they thought he actually was going to have much of an impact. But the combination of price and his form is just sensational. Holly, you don't have him. How do you reconcile yourself with that?
Well, I've committed to Rashford now, so I kind of need to run with it. But I can see Greenwood scoring more points over the rest of the season. It's really positive that he started the last 3 games. He is quite a selfish player, so I'm expecting more goals from him than assists. I guess Rashford has got the threat of potentially being on penalties some of the time and should play more minutes as well. But I still think that Greenwood is now confident, is nailing down that place in this Manchester United attack. I think he could be the one to go for.
Well, it's not just his recent form that's been impressive. If we take a look in terms of minutes per goal across the season, only Sergio Aguero has been more prolific than the United youngster. He's averaging a goal every 115 minutes. So does that suggest that going forward his form is sustainable and actually that could get even better?
Yeah, I think with all of these youngsters, Greenwood, Nketiah and Saka at Arsenal, they all seem to be benefiting from the fact that it's behind closed doors now. There's no pressure of the crowd on top of them. They're just playing free-flowing football. And as a result, their statistics are massively growing as a result of it. So for me, whilst the season is playing out as it is behind closed doors and they don't have that pressure from the fans, those stats are only going to get better and he will therefore only kind of cement himself, in my view, in that Manchester United starting.
Do you think those numbers are going to continue coming in?
Yeah.
What about then Marcus Rashford, who hasn't really had the same impact that maybe we were expecting from the restart? He has scored from the penalty spot. Do you think that, given his productivity earlier on in the season, 15 Premier League goals so far this season, that it could be worth sticking with him?
Yeah, I do think that Rashford will be hating the fact that everyone else around him is scoring these massive hauls. That will not go down well. He will want to kind of get out there and I can see a haul coming from him to kind of catch up with what everyone else is doing.
Holly, the whole penalty situation at Manchester United has been a confusing one because we've seen Fernandes take a penalty earlier in the season, Pogba, Marcus Rashford. Since the restart, Fernandes took one, Rashford then took another. So what do we think is going to happen? Is it worth having Rashford and keeping him just because it looks as though maybe he's on them?
I don't think it's worth going for the sideways move. And I think the situation will be that Fernandes and Rashford will rotate. So next up, I'd expect Fernandes to take the next penalty.
Oh, really?
But Manchester United win more penalties than any other side. We've seen it as a trend in the Premier League, not only this season, but across several seasons. So he's going to get another chance from the spot, I'd say.
Holly, you mentioned the fact that their fixtures look really good. Probably the best set of games coming up of any of the Premier League sides. Have a quick look at the challenges that await Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. I say challenges, but you've got Aston Villa there. You've got a Crystal Palace side who don't really have anything to play for. Southampton, though, showed us at the weekend that even teams that don't have anything on the line can still come up with major surprises, but those are great fixtures.
They are, and they're fixtures for goal scorers. I think they're all going to be sides, with the exception of Crystal Palace, like you say, who aren't really fighting for anything. All of the others have got stuff to fight for, whether it be relegation or the Champions League. And so they're going to be teams that go out to play and therefore they're going to leave spaces. And so the likes of Fernandes, Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, Pogba, they're all going to get returns, I would have thought.